My name is Alex Torres. I worked as a security guard at Riverside Mall. $9 an hour. Late shifts only. The kind of job where you watch other people buy things you'll never afford. Please subscribe and like for more interesting videos. My life was small but predictable. Rent on the 15th. Groceries on Fridays. Maybe a movie once a month if I skipped lunch twice that week. I wasn't complaining. At least I had work. Then one Tuesday night, everything changed. I was doing my final walkthrough before closing when I found it. A black leather briefcase sitting behind the bathroom sinks. Heavy. Expensive looking. I should have taken it straight to Lost and Found. I didn't. Something made me open it first. Inside were stacks of cash. More money than I'd ever seen in my entire life. The bills were crisp, organized, wrapped in plain paper bands with no markings. My hands started shaking. I counted it 3 times because my brain couldn't accept what my eyes were seeing. $20 million. Just sitting there in a mall bathroom like someone's forgotten umbrella. I stood there for maybe 10 minutes, staring at that money. My first thought wasn't excitement, it was fear. Pure, cold fear that crawled up my spine and made my stomach hurt. Because money like that doesn't get left behind by accident. It gets left behind by people who can afford to lose it, or people who are running from something worse. Either way, those aren't the kind of people you want knowing your name. I checked the bathroom stalls, empty. I looked for cameras. The nearest one was facing the hallway, not inside. Nobody had seen me find it. That thought sat in my mind like poison. I could walk out right now. Take this briefcase to my car. Drive away. Start over somewhere new. $20 million could buy a whole different life. But I kept thinking about the person who left it. Were they panicking right now? Retracing their steps? Calling people who don't ask questions? I zipped the briefcase closed. My shift ended in 30 minutes. I took the briefcase to my supervisor's office. His name was Bill, and he'd worked at the mall for 16 years. He trusted me more than most people did. When I showed him what was inside, his face went white. "Where did you find this?" he asked, barely whispering. "Men's bathroom, 2nd floor." Bill stared at the money like it might explode. Then he locked his office door. "We need to call the police," he said. "Shouldn't we check if anyone reported it missing first?" He looked at me like I'd suggested something dangerous. "Nobody reports 20 million in cash as missing, Alex. You know why? Because money like this doesn't exist on paper." That's when I understood. This wasn't someone's life savings. This wasn't lottery winnings or inheritance money. This was something else entirely. Bill made the call. 2 officers arrived within 20 minutes. They asked me questions, took my statement, photographed the briefcase, then they told me to go home. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about how close I'd come to taking that money, how easy it would have been to just walk away. My girlfriend, Vanessa, noticed I was acting strange. "What's wrong?" she asked. I told her everything. Her reaction wasn't what I expected. She didn't say I did the right thing. She didn't say she was proud of me. She just stared at me with this look I'd never seen before. "You found $20 million, she said slowly, "and you gave it to the police. What else was I supposed to do?" "Keep it, Alex. Obviously keep it." I laughed because I thought she was joking. She wasn't laughing. "Do you understand what that money could have done for us?" Her voice was rising. "We could have left this place, bought a house, actually lived instead of just surviving. It wasn't ours, Vanessa. It wasn't anyone's. You found it. We argued for hours. She kept saying I'd thrown away our future, that I'd chosen being poor over being smart. I tried explaining that keeping stolen money, because that's what it had to be, would have destroyed us eventually. "You don't know that," she said. "Yes, I do. Money like that comes from somewhere, and whoever it belongs to will come looking." She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You're always going to be this way, aren't you? Always playing it safe, always being the good guy who ends up with nothing." Those words hurt more than I wanted to admit. I'd rather have nothing than spend my life looking over my shoulder. Vanessa picked up her phone and walked into the bedroom. I heard her making calls. Her voice was quiet, but I caught pieces. She was telling people about the money. About what I'd done. When she came back out, her eyes were different. Colder. "I need to think about some things," she said. The next morning, 2 detectives came to my apartment. They weren't regular police. They were federal agents. We need to ask you some questions about the briefcase you found, the taller one said. His badge read Agent Collins. They asked me to describe everything. What time I found it, whether I touched the money. If I told anyone about it, I answered honestly. Did you take any photographs of the contents? Agent Collins asked. No, sir. Did you count it? Yes, 3 times. Why 3 times? Because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The other agent, a woman named Agent Park, leaned forward. Alex, we need you to understand something. The money you found is part of an ongoing federal investigation. We can't tell you details, but returning it immediately was the smartest thing you could have done. That should have made me feel better. It didn't. Because the way she said it made it sound like I'd narrowly avoided something terrible. After the agents left, Vanessa was waiting in the bedroom. Her suitcase was on the bed, half packed. Are you leaving? I asked. I think I need some space to figure things out. Because I returned the money? She zipped her suitcase closed. Because you'll always choose the hard way. And I can't live like that anymore. The hard way? You mean the right way? They're not always the same thing, Alex. She called her sister to pick her up. I watched her pack the rest of her things in silence. Before she left, she turned to me one last time. You know what the worst part is? You actually think you did something noble, but all you did was prove you're too scared to take what life puts in front of you. The door closed. I sat on the couch for a long time after that, wondering if she was right. Work became strange after that. Bill treated me differently. Not badly, just carefully. Like I was made of something fragile. Other guards heard what happened. Some called me honest, others called me stupid. One guy, Raman, pulled me aside during break. You know that money belongs to someone dangerous, right? The feds have it now. That's not what I mean. He looked around to make sure we were alone. Whoever lost 20 million isn't just going to shrug and move on. They're going to want answers. I turned it in immediately. There's nothing to answer for. Ramon shook his head. You think it matters? You're the last person who touched their money. That makes you a loose end. I didn't want to believe him. But that night, I noticed a black sedan parked across from my apartment. It stayed there for 3 hours. Then it left. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. I started noticing things. Small things that probably meant nothing but felt like everything. A man in the grocery store who seemed to be following me through the aisles. A phone call that disconnected the moment I answered. The same car I'd seen outside my apartment, now parked near the mall. I told myself I was being paranoid. Then my bank account was frozen. No explanation. No warning. Just a message saying my account was under review for suspicious activity. I called the bank 3 times. Each time they told me they couldn't discuss it over the phone. When I went in person, the manager looked uncomfortable. Mr. Torres, there's been a flag placed on your account by federal authorities. Until it's cleared, we can't give you access to your funds. Why would the feds freeze my account? I'm not authorized to say. I had $40 in my wallet. That was it. I called Agent Collins. He didn't answer. I called Agent Park. She called back 2 hours later. Alex, we're aware of the situation with your bank account. It's a precautionary measure. Precautionary against what? I returned the money. We know, but there are protocols we have to follow. This is for your protection. Freezing my account protects me. It prevents certain people from tracking your financial activity. Just sit tight. This will resolve itself. She hung up before I could ask more questions. I sat in my apartment that night eating ramen noodles, wondering how doing the right thing had led to this. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Is this Alex Torres? The voice was calm. Professional. Male. Who's asking? My name is Vincent Caruso. I believe you found something that belongs to me. My blood went cold. I don't know what you're talking about. The briefcase, the one you turned over to the authorities. I didn't respond. I want you to know I appreciate your honesty. Most people in your position would have made a different choice. Vincent Caruso's voice was smooth, almost friendly. That made it worse somehow. I don't want any trouble, I said. Neither do I. That's why I'm calling, to thank you personally. You're welcome. We're good then? He laughed softly. We're good, Alex. You did me a favor, whether you realize it or not. That briefcase being found by someone honest instead of someone greedy saved me a lot of complications. Okay. So we're done here? Almost. I just wanted you to know that I remember people who do right by me. If you ever need anything, and I mean anything, you call this number. Understood? The way he said it didn't sound like kindness, it sounded like ownership. I won't need anything, but thanks. You never know, Alex. Life has a way of getting complicated. He hung up. I stared at my phone for a long time. That call should have made me feel better. He'd thanked me, said we were good. So why did I feel like I'd just been marked? 2 days later, my supervisor Bill called me into his office. Alex, I need to talk to you about something. His face told me it wasn't good news. Corporate received some complaints about you. Complaints? From who? Anonymous reports, people claiming you've been sleeping on duty, harassing customers, missing your rounds. That's not true. None of that's true. I know. Bill looked genuinely sorry. But corporate takes these things seriously. They're putting you on suspension pending investigation. Investigation into lies? I'm sorry, Alex. My hands are tied. I left the mall that day knowing I wouldn't be coming back. Someone was destroying my life piece by piece, and I had no way to prove it. Vanessa called that night. I heard you got suspended, she said. News travels fast. I'm sorry, Alex. I really am. Are you? Silence on the other end. I've been thinking about what I said, about you being scared. That wasn't fair. But you meant it. I was angry. I wanted more for us. More than honesty? She sighed. Can I come over? I want to talk in person. Something in her voice made me uneasy. I don't think that's a good idea right now. Please, Alex. I made a mistake leaving. I see that now. Vanessa, a week ago you told me I'd always be nothing. Now you want to talk? People say things they don't mean when they're upset. Do they? She was quiet for a moment. Just think about it, okay? After she hung up, I sat there feeling like I'd just dodged something. I couldn't explain it, but something about that call felt wrong. My unemployment claim was denied. The official reason was voluntary termination of duties. I appealed. Got denied again. My savings were gone within 2 weeks. I started selling things. My TV, my laptop, clothes I didn't need. My landlord left a notice on my door. I was 2 weeks behind on rent. I had 7 days to pay or face eviction. Every job application I sent out went unanswered. It was like someone had blacklisted me from every employer in the city. Ramon stopped by one evening. Man, I heard what's happening. This is messed up. Yeah. You need money? I can spot you some cash. I can't take your money, Ramon. Then what are you gonna do? I didn't have an answer. He left some groceries on my counter before he went. Refused to let me say no. That night I got another call from Vincent Caruso. I heard you're having some difficulties, he said. How do you know that? I keep track of people who interest me. I don't need your help, I told Vincent. Everyone needs help sometimes, Alex. There's no shame in it. What do you want? I want to make sure you're taken care of. You did me a service. Let me return the favor. By making my life fall apart? I haven't touched your life, but I can stop what's happening to it. You're saying someone else is doing this? He paused. There are people who don't appreciate loose ends, people who think anyone connected to that briefcase is a potential problem. I returned it. I cooperated with the feds. What more do they want? They want you to disappear. Not literally, just quietly. Stop being visible. And if I don't, then things will keep getting worse until you have no choice. So what are you offering? Protection? A job? A way to reset everything that's been damaged? What's the cost? Vincent laughed. Smart question. The cost is loyalty, Alex. You work for me, you're under my umbrella. Nobody touches you. And if I say no, then you're on your own. And from where I'm sitting, that doesn't look sustainable. I didn't answer Vincent right away. I told him I needed time to think. He gave me 3 days. I spent those days trying every other option I could think of. I called Agent Park again. She didn't call back. I reached out to my old supervisor. Bill said he'd tried to fight for me, but corporate wouldn't budge. I applied to 15 more jobs. Got 0 responses. On the 3rd day, Vanessa showed up at my apartment. She looked different. Her hair was styled professionally. She wore expensive clothes I'd never seen before. Can I come in? Against my better judgment, I let her. She looked around at my nearly empty apartment. Alex, this is bad. I'm aware. Let me help you. How exactly would you help? She sat down, crossing her legs. I know people now. People who can make this stop. What people? Does it matter? They can get your job back, clear your name, get you back on your feet. In exchange for what? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Just a favor down the line, nothing major. Who are these people, Vanessa? She stood up, walking to the window. After I left, I needed to clear my head. I met someone. He introduced me to opportunities. Opportunities or obligations? You always see the worst in everything. I see reality, and reality is that nobody offers something for nothing. She turned to face me. They just want you to forget about the briefcase. Move on. Live your life. I already forgot about it. The feds have it. They want to make sure you stay forgotten, that you don't talk to reporters or write a book or suddenly develop a memory about what you saw. I didn't see anything. It was just money. Was it? That question hung in the air. What does that mean? Vanessa checked her phone. My ride's here. Just think about what I said, okay? You don't have to suffer like this. After she left, I noticed something. A business card on my counter. She must have left it while I wasn't looking. It had a phone number. Nothing else. I threw it in the trash. Then I fished it back out. That night I made my decision. I called Vincent Caruso. I'll take the job, I said, but I have conditions. I'm listening. I want it legal. Whatever you're having me do, it can't be anything that'll put me in prison. Fair enough. And I want it in writing. A real contract. Vincent was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed. You're either very smart or very naive, Alex. I can't decide which. Do we have a deal or not? We have a deal. Come to this address tomorrow at noon. He gave me an address in the financial district. After I hung up, I sat there wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life, or the only choice I had left. Sleep didn't come easy that night. I kept thinking about what Vanessa had asked. Was it just money in that briefcase? What if I'd seen something without realizing it? Some detail that mattered to the wrong people? I replayed the memory over and over. Black briefcase, cash in neat stacks, plain paper bands, nothing else, at least nothing I could remember. The address Vincent gave me led to a sleek office building, 23rd floor. Corner office with a view of the river. Vincent Caruso was younger than I'd imagined, maybe 45. Expensive suit, calm eyes that seemed to calculate everything. Alex, good to finally meet in person. We shook hands. Have a seat. His office was minimalist. Clean desk, 2 chairs, a single painting on the wall. I looked into your situation, Vincent said. You've been systematically dismantled. Impressive work, really. You know who's doing it? I have suspicions, but that's not important right now. What's important is stopping it. He slid a folder across the desk. Inside is a contract. You'll work as a logistics coordinator for one of my companies. Real job, real pay. $45,000 a year to start. I opened the folder. The contract looked legitimate. What does a logistics coordinator actually do? You track shipments, verify deliveries, keep records, standard warehouse management. That's it? That's it, and this stops what's happening to me? Vincent leaned back. Once you're under my employment, certain parties will back off. They'll see you're protected. Protected by you. Yes. I read the contract 3 times. It seemed legitimate, normal job duties, standard legal language. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was signing something more than a work agreement. What's the real catch here? I asked. Vincent smiled. The catch is loyalty, like I said. You work for me, you're loyal to me. You don't talk to investigators about my business. You don't cooperate with people trying to build cases. You mind your business and do your job. And if the feds come asking questions, you politely refer them to our legal department. That's it. I stared at the contract. Everything in my life had fallen apart in 2 weeks. My job, my savings, my relationship, my reputation. This was a way out. But it was also a door I might not be able to close once I walked through it. I need to think about it, I said. Vincent's expression didn't change. You have until end of business today. After that, the offer expires. I left his office with the contract in hand. Spent the afternoon walking around the city, trying to think clearly. I called Agent Park one more time. This time she answered. Alex, I told you to sit tight. My life is falling apart. I can't sit tight anymore. What do you want me to tell you? Tell me the truth. Am I in danger? She was quiet for a long moment. We can't provide protection for everyone who helps an investigation. So that's a yes. That's a we're doing what we can with limited resources. Someone offered me a job, protection, a way out of this mess. Who? I told her about Vincent Caruso. Her silence told me everything. Don't take that job, Alex. Why not? Because once you're in his world, you can't get out clean. He's not offering you protection. He's buying your silence. My silence about what? I don't know anything. You were in that bathroom for 10 minutes before you reported the briefcase. That's 10 minutes nobody can account for. 10 minutes where you could have seen something, photographed something, remembered something. But I didn't. It doesn't matter what you did. It matters what they think you might have done. Agent Park's words stayed with me. But so did the eviction notice on my door. I had two choices. Take Vincent's job and survive, or refuse and keep falling. I thought about calling my family, but I'd already borrowed money from my brother twice. Pride stopped me from asking again. By 5 o'clock, I'd made my decision. I called Vincent. I'll take the job, I said. Smart choice. Come by tomorrow morning. We'll get you started. That night, I packed up what little I had left. Started fresh the next day at Vincent's warehouse. The work was exactly what he'd described: tracking shipments, checking invoices, basic inventory management. My coworkers were normal people. Some had been there for years. Nobody treated me like I was involved in anything shady. After 2 weeks, my bank account was unfrozen. The complaints against me at my old job were mysteriously withdrawn. My unemployment claim was approved retroactively. It was like someone had flipped a switch and my life started working again. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd traded one kind of cage for another. 3 months passed. I settled into a routine. Work, home, sleep, repeat. Vanessa stopped calling. Agent Park stopped checking in. Vincent treated me like any other employee. Professional, distant. I started to think maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe this was just a regular job after all. Then one afternoon, Vincent called me into his office. I need you to do something for me, he said. Here it comes, I thought. There's a shipment coming in tonight. I need you to personally verify it. Check the contents against this manifest. He handed me a clipboard. Just inventory? Just inventory. But it's sensitive. I need someone I trust. Why me? Vincent looked at me directly. Because you proved you can be trusted with $20 million. I think you can handle this. The shipment arrived at 11 p.m. Standard cargo container. I opened it with my supervisor watching. Inside were crates marked as electronics. I opened one to verify. Inside weren't electronics. They were documents, thousands of them. I stared at those documents, my hands frozen on the crate. Financial records, bank statements, legal papers with names I recognized from news headlines. This wasn't inventory. This was evidence. My supervisor, a guy named Paulo, looked nervous. Just mark it verified and let's lock it up, he said. What is this stuff? Not our business. We just track it. We don't read it. I wanted to walk away. Close the crate. Forget what I'd seen. But I'd already made that choice once before, in a mall bathroom with a briefcase full of cash. And it had led me here. I took out my phone. What are you doing? Paulo asked. Calling the police. He grabbed my arm. Don't be stupid. You know who owns this company. Yeah, I do. I pulled my arm free and dialed. Paulo ran. 5 minutes later, I heard sirens. By morning, federal agents had seized everything. Vincent Caruso was arrested at his home, and I was sitting in a conference room, giving my statement to Agent Park. You did the right thing, she said. Again. Doesn't feel like it. It never does. The trial took 8 months. Vincent Caruso was convicted on 14 counts of fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. The documents I'd found were the missing pieces investigators had been searching for. The $20 million in that briefcase, it was bait, left intentionally in that bathroom to see who would take it. Who was compromised, who could be trusted. I'd passed a test I didn't know I was taking. Agent Park told me I'd helped bring down one of the biggest financial fraud operations in the state. I asked what I was supposed to do now. She said I could go back to my life. What life? I'd lost everything. But slowly, things came back. A new job, a small apartment, stability. Vanessa sent me a letter from prison. Turned out she'd been working with Vincent longer than she'd admitted. She apologized. Said she understood if I never forgave her. I didn't write back. My family called more. Proud now instead of worried. A year after everything ended, I was walking through that same mall where it all started. Someone stopped me. You're that guy, right? The one who returned the money? Yeah. That took guts. I shrugged. It was the right thing to do. He smiled and walked away. I stood there thinking about everything that had happened. Losing Vanessa, losing my job, losing my security. All because I couldn't walk away from someone else's money, but I could sleep at night. And somehow, that was enough. She left me for giving back $20 million. But the man who owned it lost everything, trying to make me regret it. And I was still standing,